I wonder how many actual shows we've actually done. No,
I get the impression he just tapes over all the old ones. So.
2.
The White Ribbon Campaign. Learn more right after this.
Looking for these? You drive Buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome to Community Watch. Hey, Greg.
Doc.
How you doing?
How you doing, brother?
All right. We're talking about a serious subject today.
Serious subject.
And we've got several guests, but we've got Crystal Layton back with us. She'll be joining us in a minute. And I think we're talking about teen violence. Which
teen dating violence.
Teen dating violence.
Yes. Yeah. Which happens a lot more than people realize. A lot more than people realize, actually.
Well, actually, I mean, I'm not sure that I was totally aware of that. So, I mean, which doesn't surprise either one of us that I wasn't aware of something.
But just having nieces, myself, and you hear stories, you know, that you just like, this can't happen to nobody in my family. And then, yeah, so it's very disheartening to learn the amount of violence, dating violence, that actually happens. And it can be in a very variety of forms. Yeah. So, I mean, but I'm glad we're doing this show, because I think we've got to create an awareness about it.
Well, I know I need to learn about it, so I'm glad we're doing it too. We will be right back with our first guest after this. It's an important show. You need to stick around for it, so stay with us.
If you're looking for a new pet that your family will cherish every day, consider adopting from a shelter. Shelters are the best places to find a new pet. That's where you'll discover healthy, loyal, and loving animals, eager to become a part of your family. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet, so bring home your new buddy today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we're very happy to have back with us again Crystal Layton. Welcome.
Thank you.
And you are the health educator for the Floyd
Teen Resource Center.
But there's more than that. It's a long thing, isn't
yes,
it?
it's the Floyd Teen Resource Center, and we are through Northwest Georgia Public Health.
Okay, I knew there was more.
Yeah, of course, it's a mouthful.
Well, I was unaware that February was teen dating violence. I guess it's an awareness month.
It's a prevention month.
So teach me a little about this, because it's not something that I'm fully aware. I mean, you hear a lot about bullying, and I guess this could take that form, but this is more than that. So tell us a little bit about why we need an awareness month for this.
Okay. Well, it does definitely kind of fall in with bullying, but it's a type of bullying or harassment or violence between romantic partners, so a couple. And as far as why is it so important that we talk about it with teens, it's because it's reported that 1 in 3 students experience some form of abuse. And 2/3 of those students don't report it to a caring adult.
1 in 3.
1 in 3.
That's huge.
And 2/3 don't report.
So how do we know about it?
So it's really more than 1 in 3, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
So that's just among the ones that we know about.
Yes, that's just among the ones that actually report experiencing abuse. And, you know, I'm sure we'll go into the different types of abuse.
Well, yeah, let's do that.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Let's do that now. 'cause
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, you hear the term Teen Dating Violence Prevention Month, and I think violence is a very strong word. And so you're automatically going to kind of go to physical violence. And that is certainly a form of abuse, hitting, punching, shoving. We know that's a type of abuse, whether it's between romantic partners or just individuals. But there's also verbal or emotional abuse. Maybe a person's putting their partner down. Maybe they're calling them fat, telling them they don't need to eat so much. That's a form of verbal or emotional abuse. Then there's also sexual abuse. And, unfortunately, we don't want to think about that with our teenagers, but it's happening. And they can use that as power over their partner. And then the fourth type of abuse, to me, is the most interesting and it's the most relevant for our day and age. It's digital abuse. And that's when it's occurring on the internet or on social media sites such as Facebook or Twitter. And I know that you guys have probably heard a lot of bullying cases where people are being harassed on Facebook. Students are being harassed, being called different names and stuff. And that can happen in a relationship as well. But that can also be the partner demanding for the passwords to their social media sites, demanding for their Facebook password, or stalking their Facebook or their Twitter, posting inappropriate photos or messages. So those are the four different types of abuse that can happen. And I definitely think that digital abuse we don't always think of, but
that makes me wonder. I'm quite sure you can speak to this, Doc, as the most senior person here at the table. I'm just wondering though, because with the influx of technology and the access to technology, my first inclination is that we're probably seeing more because we have technology. But I'm wondering, has this really been something that's been here all along? But probably the reporting is much better also because of technology. I'm just wondering, is this something that's probably been here much longer than we realize?
You're asking me this?
I'm just,
a technology question?
No, I'm just wondering about the dating violence, though.
That makes sense to me. That it's something where we're finding out more about now because it's easier to track. I would guess digital examples probably, or of the various types. It's probably the easiest to see the evidence of.
Yeah, because there's going to be a larger audience that views that if it's something that they post. Now, if it's them demanding their password or stalking them, that may not be as clearly seen.
Yeah. But I guess the most troubling thing about this to me is how is it? Where does this come from? Is it learned? Is it something that grows out of just a huge number of romantic relationships that one partner has to be the dominant, I guess, and that leads to some form of abuse, possibly?
Well, I would say that in some cases it could be learned behavior. Maybe they've grown up in an abusive home with their parents. But I don't think that's the case all the time. I think that teenagers, they're trying to figure their own selves out and their own identity and figuring out what a healthy relationship is, how to be in a healthy relationship, how to be a respectful partner. They're learning all of that. And obviously jealousy plays in. And like you said, they're having multiple boyfriends and girlfriends throughout their teenage years. So that's changing, and they're learning something maybe from each of those relationships. But I think definitely we don't always think about that. I don't think teenagers always think about that their actions could be a type of abuse, such as like repeated phone calls. Like, let's say the girl is going to the movies with one of her friends that night, and the boyfriend's calling over and over and over again. What time are you going to be home? What are you wearing? Are there going to be other guys there? And just constantly, sending text messages or whatever. And that could go also the opposite direction. It could be the girl doing that to the guy. So it's definitely not one-sided.
I gotta, just listen to you talk right that second. I'm also wondering, though. Well, not wondering. I'm convinced that as a society, we actually thrive and promote and make money off violence. And I'm just wondering, is this is not also part of our society, our culture? I mean, let's be honest. Some of the most profitable video games are some of the most violent video games. And then when you watch TV, some of the biggest shows on TV right now is predicated on people being mean and doing just mean and nasty things to each other for a goal, some type of prize. And so I think we have a larger role to play in this, that in our society, we have created this environment where it's almost acceptable to be violent or be bullying, it's almost like it's okay in some
Like it's expected.
Yeah, I mean, like you have some shows, let's be honest, that it's like the whole premise of the show is altercations. Yeah. So I think, we live in a society where we kind of promote some of this. And so it's not surprising that some of our young people who are, as you say, struggling to identify and find themselves, they're maybe not knowing how to properly process all of this. Whereas adults, we would tend to think, we know that's TV, let's kind of, but I really think as a society, we have done a really good job of putting violence out there for our kids to be able to take part in it.
I certainly agree, and here soon you're going to hear from two of my youth action team members that are guys, and they're going to be talking about changing you said the code, they're going to be talking about changing the man code. So that'll be really interesting.
Tell me a little bit about the team and how it developed.
Okay, the youth action team.
Yeah.
It is made up of high school students from the county schools and the city high school. They're 10th through 12th graders, and they work on prevention projects in the community, any kind of issue that teens face. They try to do awareness campaigns, hold different events. We meet monthly, and they're just a really fabulous group of teens. I mean, I get compliments on them all the time because they're smart individuals, and we call them the youth action team because they're action oriented. We're not just meeting every month and talking about what's going on. They're actually trying to do something. They're trying to make a change, trying to bring awareness to people. So that's a little bit about the youth action team. It's
how
been
did you
around
draft them?
Well, it's been around for about a year. Yeah. My Floyd team, I have a team in Bartow, but my Floyd team's the newest, and we formed last March. So initially went through high school counselors and requested for students. And I didn't say I need the best of the best or, top of the class. I said I want students who you think would benefit from this just as much as we would benefit from them being on the team, and students that want to make a difference in their community, that you think they need just the opportunity to be able to do that. And we had a meeting and they came, and most of them stuck around, and we're actually going to start recruiting again in March. We'll have a sort of an informational meeting, and I'm putting it in the hands of the youth action team members. And that's the way I'm kind of hoping for it to be sustainable, is that every year they're the ones that are doing the recruiting, because we can ask counselors to do stuff, but ultimately the counselors aren't at the meetings, the kids are. They know what we're about, and they know how to get other youth there.
And where does this white ribbon fit in?
This white ribbon campaign, it fits in as far as it's about ending violence against women. And like I said, changing sort of the man code and what men sometimes think they're expected to do. Like you were talking about earlier, that as a society we kind of put these expectations out there that they should, they should
cavemen.
They should be cavemen, and they're not. And so this is about changing that and showing that, like, guys are great, and they want a peaceful society. They want healthy relationships, that they're not cavemen.
When you say man code, I just get this kind of like, wait a minute, I don't want that label, it's this kind of, but you're right, though, it exists, we know it exists, and I think you're right. I mean, in fact, we know not too long ago with the whole Miami Dolphin football team, the whole hazing thing, this kind of macho, being really tough guy, and it does, let's be honest, it carries over into relationships, and I think you're absolutely right that as men, we have to take ownership of that, even if it's not who we are. We still have to take ownership that it goes, it's a culture, that we have to help change. And it's good that y'all have actually young men involved in
Yes.
changing that.
We're very excited about that.
So this is a February thing, but obviously you're hoping that it will carry over
Yeah.
beyond February.
Definitely. I mean, it'll be going on in the schools in the month of February, the first week of February and the second week. But yeah, we're hoping that, we're making an impression, and like you said, we're raising awareness about the issue, and that it's going to open some people's eyes, and that people will start changing, their attitudes and beliefs will start changing, and that it'll carry over for, the rest, for years and years and years, and just get better and better.
Well, we appreciate you being with us to tell us about this. We're going to be joined after this break by a couple of members of the Youth Action Team. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
Packers. Viking. Packers. Viking. Viking.
Red state, blue state, vegan.
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
Optimist.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities,
Live
our families,
united.
even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we're very happy to have with us two members of the Youth Action Team, Josh Hines and Thomas Heron. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys.
Thank you.
And all right, no, what high school?
We both go to Armurchie.
Armurchie. And 12th grade?
It's juniors.
Juniors. Juniors are the busiest group. Isn't that always true?
Well, they want to become seniors. And,
Yes, but once they become seniors, all the work just kind of dies off. It's like, So how long have you been involved with the Youth Action Team?
I've been about a few months or so. He's one of the founding members.
Yeah, I was one of the first that were a part of the group, and I think I invited him to a meeting, so that's why he's here.
Yeah.
So why did you go? Why did y'all go to the meeting? I'm curious, really. What made you say this is something I want to be a part of?
Well, being one of the first people, I just went up to they called each of us up to the office. I think there were 5 from my school, and everybody from that group went. So Armurchie was like everybody in the group, and we just went to see what it was like at first, and it was a good environment, and everything that they were looking to do was positive, so we wanted to be a part of that.
And yourself?
Well, it's our community. It's where we live. It's our home, and if we have an opportunity to make it better, then we should take that opportunity.
Did you write that answer out for him?
Yeah, I'm just. Okay, this is not staged. I'm just saying we did not. I mean, but it's great to hear that from young men. But because not that it doesn't happen, I just don't think we hear it enough. That we have a responsibility. That you have a responsibility to your community. That it's not just your parents or some old folks. That you actually have a responsibility right now to make it better.
So tell us a little bit about this particular initiative, and I mean, how did it feel when it was brought up to you that men need to change their behavior? Was that did you feel a little picked on? Did you feel like, yeah, I'm not guilty of any of this, so?
Well, I mean, it's part of men as a whole. I mean, when you think of guys, you think of a stereotypical jock who beats his girlfriend and drinks every night, but that's not who we are, and we want the world to see that.
Now let me ask you this, because y'all are both juniors, so you're at that age of dating age and your friends are at that dating age. Have you seen or do you know of dating violence amongst your peers in your schools, and how does that resonate?
Well, it's certainly not as extremely common or extremely visible, but it's certainly there.
Yeah, I think there's some that people don't realize, because like Krista was talking about earlier, there's some areas that doesn't seem like it's actually dating violence, but it really is, and so many people fall into that category without realizing it. So I think it's not visible, like he said, but it's certainly present.
Well, I can tell you, as you get older, you'll find that a lot of the dating violence, and I'm glad it is a general theme, as you said, for men. And I know the focus is on teen, but teens become grown. And if we don't deal with it when they're teens, you find it in their relationships when they're grown. And some of the things she was talking about is like, yeah, I know people that have dealt with that, the constant text messaging, and you have to, hey man, that's not cool, and it happens though.
Right.
And I don't know if people realize that, sending 100 texts, in 5 minutes is harassing, and it's bullying, but it's prevalent.
Are you trying to tell me something?
No, I'm not trying to tell you something. I'm just saying a hit dog or holler, but I'm just saying it is real, and I can imagine now with everybody having smartphones, the texting that's not as visible is probably very present.
So what seems to be the most common thing in the world that you're in every day? Is it a bullying kind of thing, or what?
There's a lot of bullying that goes around, not just dating violence, but bullying's become very present not only in schools, but because of just the new technologies and everything makes it much easier. But bullying's probably up top.
I think it's not necessarily intentionally done, like Krista said.
Right.
With the technology, some people don't realize it's obsessive. Some people can consider it bullying, but I think that the perpetrators don't necessarily see it as bullying.
So what is how do we change this, I guess? I mean, part of what you're doing is bringing awareness to the problem, and you're doing that. But how do we change this? How do you get guys to change their behavior?
I don't think it's necessarily a change that's required, but a realization among guys that masculinity isn't over-aggressiveness, but it's really just respect towards women and anyone in that nature. And anyone, for adults, children, respect for anyone's part of masculinity, not necessarily aggressiveness.
Well, I mean, that makes so much sense, but I'm wondering how, for someone who is aggressive and not respectful, how you get that idea across. I mean, I don't know if that's an easy thing to answer even, but...
It's not, because we know, we have dealt with years for young men, and that part of it. But I'm thinking, Doc, one way is that it's just by talking. Do y'all talk amongst y'all friends, your guy friends, about this? I mean, I'm assuming, being that y'all are sort of like ambassadors, do you start conversations about dating violence and what it looks like in that nature? Do you have these kind of conversations just with a couple of your friends sometime about dating violence?
We try. It's certainly not an easy subject to bring up, but if the opportunity is there, we certainly try to take it.
And we're trying to get it not just among our friends, but at our school, through one of our clubs. We're starting to really promote this for the upcoming month, and we're going to be having these pledges to sign to pledge against trying to change the man code, and they'll get a white ribbon to wear around and kind of spread awareness about that. So it'll be flowing throughout our school through February.
And what we're looking at is a poster. I don't know if we hold it up, if y'all could see it or not. Yeah, I can see that pretty well.
Yeah. And I got a question for you. Now, I know you say y'all having y'all have to press Miss Layton and Miss Angie. Wouldn't it be nice if, not just at your school, but in the community, everybody was wearing white ribbons, that day and talking about it? And because, I mean, this is something that is truly as diverse as your calendar. It affects all nationalities. Dating violence is among everybody. Economics, doesn't matter if you're poor or rich, it happens in all homes. It happens everywhere. And I really think y'all own something that, it's something, makes me think of the Children March for Civil Rights. It was actually the children, high school children and college children, that really were the backbone that kind of broke civil rights. And so I think you're onto something, and force them to make it bigger. I would like to see that ribbon everywhere on that day.
We should be wearing ribbons today.
We're going to talk to Ms. Layton about this.
Yeah, okay. She should have brought us.
Yeah, because we need to help promote this.
So what are some of the organized things that you're doing through the month to get this word out?
Well, besides the pledge banners that we're putting up in, I think, in each of the 4 county schools, we're also handing out the ribbons and text pledges. They text a certain word to a certain number to pledge that they'll help end dating violence.
No, how does that work? You lost me there.
Yeah, you got to help with the technology.
This is a
part.
technology question, so I'm really confused. You understood it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, so most people understand.
Yeah.
All right. So
but also with that, the Sexual Assault Center is making Valentine's Day cards, and they're going to hand out about 100 at each school about just different messages about loving yourself and loving others and just being kind to each other and trying to get dating violence down a little bit.
Now, do you anticipate any pushback from guys with your involvement in this? Just guys that are being insensitive and stubborn about their aggression? So just like, things are falling off the wall. It's just
a part of the code, actually. You know, I would guess it would be part of the code to just resist this. No, I'm not. I'm fine. I'm fine to be a caveman. Just leave me alone. So.
Well, I think it's expected. I mean, not everyone's going to agree with this. People who don't realize what they're doing aren't going to realize that they need to change. I think it's part of that over-aggressiveness that this is who they are, this is who they're going to be.
Yeah. It's pretty courageous of y'all to be out there with your stance on this. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your courage. And I want my white ribbon.
I'm demanding it.
Where are we gonna get this? Y'all provide those. You're gonna have like
we make them and hand them out.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna have to.
And we need to find the dates, and we'll get all that before we leave, the date and everything. So, because I really do think, and I'm with Dr. Hirsch, I really congratulate you too, because I do think it has to start amongst your own peers, and somebody has to have the courage to say that's not cool. And a lot of times amongst adults, we see and hear things that we just let pass. And I think that's how it begins and that's how it grows. So really, it's a great job.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on a break in a few seconds here. When we come back, we'll give you some contact information and tell you some more particulars about the February event and activities. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
$7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We want to thank Krista Layton and Josh Hines and Thomas Heron for being with us today and for working to change the man code in February. If you want to find out more about this, here's a website, justusteens.com, or you can call Ms. Layton at 770-546-9510 and get more information about this project and the action team in general. Thank you all for being with us, and we'll see you next time on Community Watch.